Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Do you want me to add that?
Just pop some shit. Yeah, pulse underneath.
The last chat we had was okay.
You are welcome to stay. Please be very quiet.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Is there going to be like a clicker, or how do I change the screens of the just
You just put
the next?
like the
Okay.
Okay, shall I start a new live?
Oh yeah, we didn't want the other one.
I've been deleted it. You need to look at that because it was streaming with this mic instead of the mic on my camera.
Okay, is it fine now?
I hope so. I need to shove it.
Let me have a listen.
Can you bring it and go?
Yeah, just give me the thing. Is it live now? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone who has made it in the terrible weather to Tower Bridge and listen to the product talks. I'm Malik, I'm founder of the company Innovify, and we host these monthly product talks to nurture and serve ideas within the product community, people who are working on digital products, either as a product manager or as a UX designer, as a BA, or someone who wants to break into the product management as a career, is what we normally talk about. We host our event once a month, and we announce them in advance at our meetup group. So if you're not already a member, please join it, because this is a way for us to keep in touch with everyone within the community. So yes, we are Innovify. We host these events once every month, and we work with our clients to help them bring new ideas. We bring some new ideas to the market, and as part of that process, we tend to be very lean and agile. And this is what our typical delivery process looks like. As our expertise, we cover multiple stacks, but as a process, we cover right from the beginning, from innovation to design and development and delivery. And these are some of the clients we have worked with in the last few years. So anyone has got more questions about what we do, how we do and why we do, please connect with me or anyone else in my team tonight. But today, without wasting too much time about Innovify, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off this session of the actual talk that you are more interested in. Right? So tonight, we're going to talk about generally about the UX principles, how you can deliver the user experiences, especially when it comes to digital products. But I believe the experience go beyond the product, and they are end-to-end service deliveries that we normally need to look into. So with that in mind, I've got two wonderful speakers with tremendous experience in designing very good experiences for their clients, and I'm sure we'll get to hear a lot from them, right? But the key thing is not to talk more about how to do UX or UI design, but to talk more about some patterns and design challenges, especially when you're working within a digital team and also within an agile environment, where the process may not be as structured as some bigger and waterfall company, right? So without wasting time, I'll get Alex first. You started on your talk, right? Cool. Over to you, Eric.
Hey guys, so I'm just going to get right into it. So speaking about how to improve UX performance in Agile, how to deliver great products in an Agile environment, and make sure you satisfy your clients. So just a little bit about me. So I have 3 years product design experience. I've worked with lots of startups and then big companies like BT as well. degrees in economics, marketing, innovation, and I like to specialize in agile software development, personalization and mass customization, and the platform business model. So I currently run a company called Protofast. What we do is we deliver prototypes quickly for companies who are looking to test their ideas or raise funds from investors. So the problem right now is, agile software development and user experience design. So agile is about moving very fast and, typically the user experience design process, researching, making sure you understand the problem well, doing enough tests and, understanding it enough to make sure like you deliver value. But in most agile environments, everything has to move very, very fast. So it's a big problem to a lot of UX designers. Like for instance, this is a story about someone called Martin. He's under a lot of pressure from stakeholders and his product owner, to deliver very fast. But there's just not enough time, and he's pretty much a wireframe monkey in code, like just churning out wireframes every day, and this is not the way to work. So it's how do we move fast, but move in the right direction as well? It's complex. It's actually a complex and popular problem. So I put out this post on LinkedIn a while back, trying to connect with UX designers who have this problem. And it led me down the hole of like doing a lot of research and understanding from UX designers' perspectives and other people all around the world. So I spoke to about 17 UX designers in Amsterdam, Cairo, Lagos, Nigeria, New York, so many countries. I attended UX roundtables with design directors, and I read existing literature on how this works. So these are 6 things that can improve UX performance in Agile. So the first thing is the product owner or manager should have UX design experience. What I mean is, oftentimes a product owner, might have an idea on how to improve the product, but they pretty much put all the pressure on the UX designer to churn out wireframes. And I feel like, if a product owner or manager had some experience designing wireframes themselves, they could pretty much do this and put it in the story they're writing. It makes it easier for like the entire team to pick up a brief and understand what's being designed. Just quickly, does everyone here know what I'm talking about when I say agile software development? Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so just because a couple of people are looking a bit lost, so I was just trying to make sure. So yeah, it typically starts with a brief written by the product owner, and then this brief most of the time, or where I worked at BT, was just like the idea, and then it was handed over to the UX designer to come up with the wireframe of the idea, or like the process or the journey of executing this idea. So I feel the product owner should be able to churn out the wireframes themselves to make it more collaborative. I personally feel that in an agile environment, you can't have a UX designer. You pretty much should only have product designers. So you might have UX researcher or a product designer, but no, it shouldn't be anyone who feels I'm the one who's in charge of improving the UX design of the process. Every single member of the team should be a UX designer in some shape or form. If you're a copywriter, you should be a UX writer. You should be writing to improve the product. Same thing. Even the front-end developer should be a UX engineer. Everyone on the team should be UX in some shape or form. So there shouldn't be one person in charge of the UX process. The go live date is king, so everyone needs to respect the dates. We've decided to make things go live. It should be an iterative process. You might put it out shit at first, but as time goes on, you should make it better over time. But you shouldn't keep on going back and skipping, go live dates. Make sure everything goes live when it's meant to go live. I feel like, you should use the wider business. Not everything I'm saying here is up for debate. This is how I feel like you can improve your process. Use the wider business for some usability tests. Have, a stakeholder who's actually to design the product come in for tests as well. They should be present while you're testing the product. That way they understand the impact and importance of the UX process in an agile environment. Have a specific day every week for user tests. So at BT, I was trying to introduce something called a collab day. A couple of companies do it. So it could be a Thursday, have that day specifically for UX test, for usability test. Bring in people, have someone recruit the users and test the product you're designing with them. So test your prototypes with them. It makes it easier for you to keep on continuously have feedback on the things you're designing. And 6, it's all about value. So if at the moment you currently deliver value as soon as your user needs it, then it's okay. You don't need to follow any of these designs. But what typically happens is, a lot of pushback, meaning that, the go live date is postponed, and, there's not enough value delivered as at when it needs to be delivered to the users. And I kind of think like there should be a process that flows this way, more of in a, iterative process. This looks a bit like like a waterfall process, but it's not waterfall. You can always go back and correct things. So it should start with like data or research insights put into a brief written by the product owner with the wireframe. Then everyone comes together for a spike to generate ideas of how we're going to go about achieving this. The designers create a prototype to be tested, whether you're using Agile, Sketch, whatever tool you're familiar with. The collab data test for usability. Hand this over to the build stage where the devs build the product, goes to the user acceptance test, and then it goes live. So it's an iterative process that can go back depending on what needs to happen. And yeah, that's the end of the talk. I just had to make this as quick and fast as possible. I should probably just go back and listen, so if anyone wants to like read this. So I wanted this to be more about like asking questions and like people who feel like, what if this doesn't work, or what if that doesn't work, or what about this in that situation? So yeah, this is how I feel things should be. Currently, I think what happens is, the product owner hands over the brief to the UX designer, and then the UX designer goes off to do research by themselves, and then hands this over to like a UI designer who turns this into like a high fidelity prototype, and then it goes for testing. But I feel like in UX and an agile environment should be more about educating the entire team. So everyone is UX in some shape or form. So there's no UX designer here. Everyone is a designer, is a UXer in some shape or form. So it's a designer, it's, the devs here, the designers here, everyone here is a UXer. So this is how I feel it should work instead. And that's really, cheers guys.
Should we take a couple of questions for you?
Yeah.
Or should we do it at the end?
At the end?
Okay, cool. All right. Proceed.
Yeah. Does this one work?
These both. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. That's a shame.
Good evening. How are we doing? So I'm going to give a similar talk to Alex, but mine is about the devil being in the detail, because if you miss the details, you're going to screw up a little bit. So let me introduce myself. My name is Akil. I am head of research at Community, and today, I've been spending the last like 3 or 4 months really researching artificial intelligence and how we interact with it and how we think about it, how we work with it. And I've seemed to have found some really interesting conclusions. So, this is who I work for, this is Community. It says what it says there, but we have a passion for emerging tech. And our passion for emerging technology started with our work in AI. We were doing stuff like, we're looking at AI and ethics and AI and racial bias and how these things impact people's lives. And then we said, hold on, wait, we're doing all this research, but it doesn't make sense if we don't start implementing this stuff into product. And how do we do that? And so that's how we came up with our process. So today I'm going to take you through a project that we did. This was a 2-week sprint, so it was agile enough, it was fast, but it hurt as well. And we did a project with IF. Now, IF is a technology studio specializing in ethics and AI. And I've credited them in the footer, so that's why they're on every slide, because it's a project we did there. I thought it was mean to just cut them out. But with our work, all we do is we work to create positive human interactions. And we do this through one approach. Now, many people build alphas like this. They get an idea, then they start prototyping, and they don't really have an understanding of the types of thoughts that came beforehand to actually get them to the idea of, oh, I actually have an idea. They don't have an understanding of the steps before they made that. At Community, we kind of went our steps down. So similar to Alex's process, and then make insight-driven design. We do insight-driven ideation. So we don't even start with the idea, you start with the people. And then we prototype and we test. And we test rigorously. So with the researching, that's a research session itself. In the concepting, we don't even make high fidelity concepts or high fidelity prototypes first. There's no point. We do low fidelity prototypes, we do cardboard cutouts, we do role play, we do all these types of things to make sure that the ideas actually stick and the idea is valuable and people don't get dazed by the glitz and glamour of a shiny prototype. And then we mock it up to the highest fidelity. So this is the Launchpad program, and this is what we call liftoff. And it's literally to get an idea into the market. Now, before we move on, I just need to say this. As I said, community believe in creating positive human interaction, but what does that really mean? For me, it means we create human experiences, no longer user experiences, because when we work with emerging technology, it impacts your life so much. Emerging technology, especially with AI and the way they use automated decisions, it can impact your life in finance, getting a mortgage. It can impact your life in sentencing. There was a whole ProPublica study with people being recommended sentences which were just wrong. It's impacting your life everywhere. And so if we're building these technologies, we kind of have to start thinking not just of the user of this one thing, but of their whole life, and so their human experience. That's why I believe the research is so important. Now, I am a researcher. I'm not a user designer, I'm a user researcher. Well, I'm a human researcher now. Just call me a sociologist, it's fine. But the point is, my tangibles aren't screens. Doing user research, my tangibles aren't screens. My tangibles are creating a sensibility for the whole team. Similar to what Alex was saying, for the whole team to adopt. And so they can start using these thinkings and these insights and these learnings to inform their design decisions. That creates a product that connects deeper with people than sitting someone in a room by themselves and saying, hey, I want to do this, create some screens that I think that'll work. Now, when we were working with this, we were posed this question: how can we expose the seams of a mental health chatbot to make its actions explainable? Now, we focus this on young people, firstly. Young people are still making mental models of the world, and they're still navigating and trying to understand what's going on. So we thought there'd be a great audience to work with. Mental health, because mental health is a challenging topic, and the idea that many mental health chatbots exist, making automated decisions and recommending help to people, we thought was a very interesting area. And then makes actions explainable. These things that seem like a black box. And so if we could change the user experience or the human experience with this, then we were very successful. Now, the research. We did 2 workshops back to back, and they were 2-hour sessions. We planned them to the T. And the question we were asking was why, how, what do you think? What makes you do this? What's your driver? What keeps you in this behavior? And this is what we found. This is some of the findings anyway. So tools, not friends. Young people are looking at chatbots. Young people are talking to chatbots, and especially mental health chatbots, because they didn't want to talk to their friends. If they wanted to talk to their friends, they would. They wanted to talk to a tool. They wanted to talk to something. They just wanted to get it out. Tools, not friends. Objectivity. So they call bias, we call objectivity as product, as people who do product. And they were just like, oh, it just looks at me for me, not me for who they think I am with these rose-tinted glasses. And that was really important. And we found out there was 2 sets of people in our audience. There were 2 types of personas for the young people. There was the young person who just wanted security and wanted to get on with their life and said, oh yeah, I'm fine, I've got nothing to hide. And then there was the other person who wanted security and privacy and said, yes, these are the 2 things I want, and these are 2 things I need. Now, when you're designing and you get put up something like that, you design for the lowest common denominator. You design for the hardest group. Now, that makes it more inclusive. The Launchpad program is an inclusive and ethical design process. Therefore, we take these things in mind. Now, we took all that research and we used that research to inform our ideation, our concepting. Oh, I think I skipped a slide. No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, we took all that research and put that into our ideation, into our concepting. We had 23 insights and about 60 themes. And so when we're now ideating, we can ideate within the boundaries to know that this is what the users want. It's different from ideating with a spike and you saying, oh, that's just how to solve this problem. It's just more informed. And we take it from that process. Now, if I don't know if the video is working, so I won't even try it. But this is a video of us role playing. Now, when you're prototyping AI, the actually best way to prototype is with another human being. Artificial intelligence? Oh, real intelligent. Okay, yeah, we do it that way. And so that's how we kept it going. Designing Moodjar. So Moodjar was the name of the mental health chatbot we made, by the way. Sorry, I should make that clear. But when we started designing now, these insights came into play. They started to inform us. This is how it came. So people were like, how do you make automated decisions more explainable? And this is talking to a chatbot. Well, let's start underlining the words to show you which keywords are really triggers for us. But it also informed our conversation design. It also informed our interaction design. It also informed our system architecture. Talking to the people to create the human experience that informed everything. It's not just about the screen. I told you, as a researcher, my tangible and my output is a sensibility. So young people wanted to be informed, not told by automated decisions. They didn't want a diagnosis, they just wanted help. Collection of information should be transparent. It should tell you what type of information and what decisions it's making on people. Knowing the outcome of profiling can be unhelpful, similar to the first, but just slightly different. And these is what we use to create Moodjar. Now, I can show you this because they've got no sound. But this is just a walkthrough. I think it's a bit slow. I haven't pressed play yet, sorry. This is a short walkthrough, but this is Moodjar. Moodjar is made by the big education charity, the B charity, made up charity too. But you can tell by the tone of voice that how we decided Moodjar wasn't a human being. We tell by the tone of voice that we were being permissive, we were asking, we weren't demanding, we weren't being very forward. And this all came out of the research. We don't keep information, sorry. This is all important. And we even had to design handovers. This whole 72 hours thing that came out of the research. They don't want someone to open their phone and see it there. Like, it's private. The reason why they're using the chatbot in the first place versus talking to a therapist is because they want to be able to be in a room with their anxieties and just get it out. And last time I checked, people being on phones is a normal behavior. I'll stop it now, but this was a lot. This was a lot of the work that we did. Now, if you ask if we were successful, the answer is yes. We took these insights and then we tested again. We test, because there's no point putting it live if it doesn't work. And the whole idea of doing pilots and prototypes is to generally test the value proposition. And it works. This is a quote from a young man who's in one of our user tests. It's clearly scanning for keywords. It understands my mood. I'm going to it understands my mood correctly. I'm going to say yes. Like, he understood that how the chatbot was working. That was our goal. How to make the decisions of the mental health chatbot more explainable. Yeah, he understood how it was working. We did our job, but the way we did our job was going through the Launchpad program. It was literally framing the question, understanding what we really wanted to do, understanding what we really wanted to achieve, setting up a research session so that we could really challenge our assumptions, synthesizing our research, saying not guessing what's there or not putting words in people's mouth, or just observing what's actually there and saying, okay, people are people. This is not what it should be, it's what it is. And once you accept that, you can move forward into the ideation and into the prototyping. Now, you will build better products when you design for agency and show care. It used to be my opinion. Now I believe it's fact. Because every time I've seen companies or seen people take real time to understand their users, no matter what way they got to their ideation and their prototyping, but when they spent real time to understand their users and their users' needs, they were successful. So, thank you very much. That was my talk on user experience and human experience, and that was it. Love it.
So, thank you, Akil and Alex, for doing this. Let's just get the table. I'm going to call you in as well because I know you're surprised. So, we'll just have a quick Q&A about UX and journey. All right, guys. So I impromptu called Erinle because he is also a UX designer. He has worked on a couple of projects. He has been a researcher in the past. Right.
Yeah, so I'm a senior UX designer, product designer, whatever. But anyways, I'm a designer. I've worked for over 8 years now in multi-organizations like Microsoft, Nokia. They've been my client in the past. Recently, I choose to work mostly independently just because it's fun. And so which means I get to work with different clients in different past 4 or 5 years. I work with government organizations and charities and stuff. And at the moment Innovify, I work with them as well as working with Open Data Institute. If you know, it's Tim Berners-Lee's. So I'm a lead UX researcher for one of their projects. And a couple of other clients. So yeah, that's me.
So, any questions from the audience that you want to raise to any of the bigger areas?
No beatbox required. Okay, so to all three of you, what would you say the difference is between a product designer and a UX designer from your perspectives?
All right, so I'll give my background, and I really don't know the answer, but I'll just give my background and figure it out. So I started as a microcontroller programmer like maybe 10 years back, and then I shifted to a JavaScript front-end developer. And after that, I realized that I had to take on product management role because I had a project where I was the front-end designer, the back-end designer, and also the designer. So whatever. So, and then I realized that okay, there's something called UX design and cycles and stuff. So I wanted to study more about it. So then I went to UCL and HCI, did human computer interaction with ergonomics. That's a very popular course out there. And I realized that wow, there is cognitive psychology and there's interface design, gesture design, it's like a big thing. So I guess if you're asking what's the difference, then I would say as a product designer, you tend to take responsibility for the whole product life cycle, which also means you don't give enough time in a single aspect, like say UX research, like user research, which works out well when you're working for a startup, because then you have to work on everything and they don't have that budget and stuff. But if you're working for a big organization like I'm now at the moment, we're doing user research for Open Data Institute, so in that project, I have to interview few government international organization on something on blockchain and stuff. So it takes up all my time because I have to write an interview script, make sure that I have a pilot running and stuff. So and then I work for startups where they don't have enough budget for research. So I had to make sure that based on my experience that I had, I can use different aspects from different startups and go to wireframe and not only wireframe but just let's say prototype mockup, which is other step and last step ahead of wireframe. That's my experience.
I would say the difference between a UX designer and a product designer is typically in very big companies, they leave a UX designer to design, do research, and have a wireframe, and then pass this over to a UI designer who's more visual and understands things like typography. And then, they work together to build a prototype. So I feel a product designer is someone who, even if you start off just being UX in terms of like psychology, you understand more of like psych and like you do research, you're thinking in terms of like growing your talents or like improving your skills into becoming a UI designer as well. So that way you can design the entire product. So it's more holistic, I feel like, whereas UX designer is typically like a segment of like, initially it was like UX designers did the entire design thing. So UX designer would do like the research, the initial wireframes, low res, high res, everything, but then it became segmented. So I feel like a product designer right now is someone who understands the product from a business aspect, psychological aspect, artistic aspect, and just trying to improve the experience of the user you're designing for. So you see it more as a product, something that has objectives, things to sell, and you're just trying to design the best experience for whoever's using that product. You're not in any silo, you're able to look at it from any perspective and deliver. And even if you can't initially, you're making sure you develop yourself to an extent where in the future you can. So that's how I see the difference between UX and product designer.
I think they've answered the question. Do you want to hear what I think?
I'm really interested.
All right, so.
So is it fair to say that you guys see it from a higher level? Like,
Yeah.
so product designer is high level, UX designer kind of has a more of a slant on user research.
Yeah, so product designer deals with more life cycle stuff. Like you're more prevalent in life cycle. User research or a UX person or UX designer usually first end, and then they'll set up a sensibility, they'll set up a wireframe, they'll set up a mock-up, they'll set up something, and then people will take that, break it, and break it, and break it, and break it. That's product weight. Like that's just what it is.
That's good.
I've got a slightly different view on that.
Bring it.
So of course, I'm coming mainly from the product side. So my background is mainly into product management. I think the way I differentiate between user experience design and a product designer is based on what you are designing, right? So typically, a business delivers an end-to-end services to their customers, right? That services are delivered either offline, human to human, part of it could be digital, there could be digital interaction, and part could be completely online. Differences, right? Completely offline, completely online, and a mix of two. But that's an end-to-end service designer, and as a user experience designer, you're in charge of everything, right? Whereas a product designer may be working on a small product within this entire service delivery, and is more responsible to make sure that product design and everything is in line to the overall service specs or service design spec which has been created for that business. That's my view on it. Make sense?
I suppose it just depends.
It depends. I think it
Classic UX.
What I have also seen, it's just a keyword for recruiters.
It's kind of what I suspected, yeah.
Yes. But there's a way to define it as we just discussed here, right?
Oh yeah. Specifically, yes, at the time. Specifically in terms of like human experience. So I can't say what the UX design as well, but how do you quantify human experiences?
I wish I had a slide for you. Let's see. So we define positive human interaction as this thing of creating eudaimonia, creating joy, giving people autonomy, giving them freedom, allowing them to move, giving them agency, this, that, and the other, right? And so in every project, we'll go in and say, what's the goal you're trying to create here? What's that positive human interaction? What's that experience? What's that North Star that we're trying to lead towards? Right, that's the first thing we do, because you can't do anything if you don't have a goal or vision. And once we do that, we'll structure our research, and we'll structure our concept tests, and we'll structure all that subsequently after to test for that, if that makes any sense. And sometimes there'll be abstractions, and sometimes they'll be easy to say, yeah, what did you feel? How did this make you feel over a period of time? And then you just use the traditional metrics, like you track the usage. But when you do that with understanding that you're not designing for addiction anymore. So you're not designing to see high screen time and this, that, the other. You're designing to see, did this person come into this application, do what they had to do and leave? That's the types of experiences that we try and create. And and the stickiness is, do they come back to do that again and again and again? And can they do it faster and faster and faster? Not, can we keep them there longer and longer and longer? And so that's how we kind of define it. We're trying to flip it on its head, because the phone is a really, really, really crucial but unhealthy tool at this current moment in time.
Thank you. Any other questions?
You said earlier on about how it's helpful if the product manager has some experience with UX. I just wonder if there's anything else that you think from a product manager viewpoint that the product manager can do to make the designer's life easier.
Learn to ask questions. Like, you guys ask questions of your team all the time. You guys ask questions of your BUs all the time. But when you're sitting there, like, how can I explain? When you're sitting there with your user researcher, you're sitting there with your team, and you see that there's something that irks you, right? And you don't know why, but it just irks you. It's like, can it be moved here or here or here? Ask the question in the right way of your UX designer. Don't just say move it, but it's like, why did you put this in? What was your sensibility to why you put this in? Because once you do that, you can start unpacking what they think. And then once you unpack what they think, you can either take that for yourself, or you're essentially going to be the product owner at the end of the day. You're going to have to take responsibility for it. But you can unpack what they think, and you can add your sensibility on top, and then you can make this a really collaborative working environment instead of, this looks weird, move it. Because I've seen that happen a lot, and then I've seen that degrade products a lot, like subsequently from there. And so that would be kind of my advice. My second point would just be like, read. Just choose an area, choose a topic that's not yours, that's part of your team's, and just look into it. And so next time you have a conversation, you're just more adept. Maybe not read, watch video, do something, but like just immerse yourself. You're doing it already, but just continue. That's it.
I guess for me, it's just about like encouraging collaboration. So, like I said earlier, like it would be cool if product owners could do the wireframes themselves. Or, it typically happens where like a product owner gets the wireframes, goes to the next person to, get the high-res, goes to the developer. But it would be cool if everyone in the team knew exactly what was going on and could input at every stage of the project. So it's less of this is one person's role, that's another person's role, and more about like we're all working on this together. So I think like if the product owner delivers that, makes that clear to the entire team, it's something they have at the back of their head, then it's easier for everyone to collaborate. It all starts with the product owner. That's the way I see it.
I mean, I really agree with what they have said. One thing, I work with a lot of one-man product manager who is also the CEO of the startup. So a few things I find like very interesting is like they try to take the ownership of the communication as well sometimes, which is like, let's say I'm a designer or UX designer, and I have built something and I'll give it to the product owner, and then they will talk to the developers, and developer will say, oh, how do I get the assets, or like, I don't know, many things. And then they try to become the middle person sometimes, which is maybe not good. And you should just allow the developers and designers to talk, and you be facilitator. And I think that's a really important thing. And I find it quite often in these scenarios. One more thing I think product managers especially should know is like, they should know about some of the bits of UX and or like not only UX, but I think it's more like product focused UX. Like for instance, Kano model, which is like how you prioritize stuff, and sometimes they want to build everything, which is not possible. And but then at the same time, what to build and if they have a good understanding of the Kano model, like, okay, what is the performance bias, what's the delight and the, so I forgot the last one, but yeah. So then you have a good idea about like what to develop and like share it with the team. And also there's a few more things I think there's also another thing from behavioral economics, which is like the bounded rationality, like what you think should you be given more focused on? Is it like information or is it the cognitive load? So if it's say cognitive load, then you'd probably do a more user research on asking users about or knowing users' mental model and stuff. If you don't know what mental model is, like how a user would think they would do something. And similarly, like if it's information, like then maybe more focus on information architecture, and then like working on the content and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's good to like Akil said that it's good to read some of those stuff. It's really important. Yeah.
From the product side, you guys not gonna like me. But what I think is many times, we coming from the product side and then the user experience designers, they want to have a free run and they want to design the best possible experiences that they can. What I've seen on the other side is sometimes designing and implementing those could be very expensive to do, could be technically challenging to do, right? And then as a product manager, you need to make a decision which is balance of all user, technology, and costing. And which is a difficult one. For UX, it's simple. They focus on the user, not tech or business side, whereas we do as a product manager. So many times, you may disagree on certain design experiences that you have done. We as a product manager may select something which is not optimal, but maybe something that just works and gets things out quickly for us to, make the next move and so forth, right? So I think what will help from my perspective is that as a product manager, if we can also give these restrictions or limiting factors, that okay, you know what, we're limited in time, we're limited in budget, we have to make sure that it's backward compatible with, this screen or something that we designed in past, and something like that, whatever the limitations we have, if we can communicate that upfront, then they can be creative, but within those limitations. That's what I think could be an approach there.
So that process I showed you beforehand allows for that. So when we kick off and we do a framing session. We work out what our boundaries are, where this project is sitting strategically within the business, what the goals, what the objectives, this, that, and the other. So we know from the jump. And so when we go through, it's less of what I call butchering. Is like less of that and just more working together. But even with that, when you're working with emerging technologies and you start playing with the design, it's not but the impact that can cause going for something else or doing something a different way can be it's tentative because you test it one way and this way is a brand new way. And this way, there's not many known ways to do it. There's many ways to do anything, but there's not many known ways to do it. And so when you start doing that on the product manager side, it's like you're taking away from like all the source that we spend time putting in it because services are hard. Like I spent a lot of time designing customer services recently. Then lost my phone, so the world gave me a real example of how to live this life. And I was like, oh, I did this. When I was designing, I did this, and this. And I forgot about something. I forgot, what if the person actually just doesn't have a device at all? Now, we submitted our designs, whatever, it was cool. It got butchered. I lived the experience. And I was like, yeah, let's not do this again. The double factor verification that I had a problem with today is because I lost my phone. And you can't get around that unless you design around that. But some product manager said, oh, that's the one, that's the direction. And so this is why sometimes I'm trying to say like, playing with the design stuff is not always the best idea. But yeah, that's a tangent. Anyway.
Just want to add something on Molik's point. Like, I slightly disagree with what Molik said that that UX designers only need to design, which is if someone is doing that, then you're not really a part of the team. You're just doing freelancing stuff. UX design is very important. They need to know about the business as much, and then that's the product manager's job to say that look, this is the business goal. This is what we need to do, and then let them free on that area. So yeah.
No, I totally agree. Right? I actually just had one really good example, practical example that pretty much all of us know. You know, when we log into banking apps from all banks, you know, we have to have that secure token, right? You put your card in, you generate the code, and then you make it. I think that whole experience is very good. You know, there's a better way of doing that. Right? But from product perspective, I can see why actually banks are able to do that. Because the moment you put the pin in and the transaction goes, the liabilities on the user and the bank. That's a business that's not there. Right? So this is a kind of a situation where, as a product, I know, okay, this is the right thing to do from the product point of view, but from experience point of view, I don't think it's the best one. And there are other ways to do it, right? But that may mean that business may need to share more liabilities there. Right?
Kenny covered a few additional questions with time.
There's one question over there.
Yeah, you briefly touched on it with your behavioral economics theory. I was just, if you guys in general could sort of address that, how it comes into your choice architecture and the way you design, that kind of thing, just quite general topic.
So, how do I use those concepts? That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I think. So it usually comes for me when I'm designing the product on a high-fi level or maybe a low-fi to high-fi level running user research, where information architecture is very important to know, like how all the information is laid out and stuff. So usually that comes under wireframe reasons, like where I want to make sure that the information is, I got that right, or like I have the minimum information to place and stuff. And then you have the whole color psychology of it depends upon the branding and stuff. Where you work with the branding, and sometimes I have to work with the branding designer as well. So then that comes with the mission and the value of the company. And usually I support a lot of sustainable design. So I guess it's usually more on the sustainable colors. There's like a lot of different psychology movements on color as well. So and that all comes in that part. And it's like Canon model, for instance, that's a very famous and interesting framework that we like to use with. Like I like to use it in any of the teams that I work with, especially to know what are the features to design, what's their impact and stuff. And so sometimes also start some projects with, rather than design thinking, do something called system thinking. When you take projects as not projects, like humans and everything as a system, then things becomes way more interesting, especially when you're working with AI and stuff. You have heard about cybernauts and stuff, but cyber is nothing but it's basically giving for any action, you're getting the feedback, and based on that, you are changing your kind of your direction to get a most ideal output. So yeah, I mean, mostly it depends after it starts from ideation process, I guess. But before that, there are some really good user research methodologies laid out by some really cool people. Especially, I would recommend Jeff Rubin. I guess she wrote a very interesting usability studies handbook, and where you have got all the methodologies from pilot trainings and like gorilla testing and other stuff. And, yeah, that's me.
Sorry, could you just repeat his name? That person's name?
Geoff Rubin. I think it's a lady. Geoff Rubin. Geoff. Let me see. The book is called Usability or Handbook of Usability. Yeah, Handbook of Usability, and it's a really nice book if you want to know the traditional methods about usability, and you can
Back when I was at BT, we had this problem where we're trying to design product cards, and UX or the product designers wanted it to be as simple as possible, clean, just with the price of the broadband package and then the checkout button or as very clean as possible. And then the marketers wanted like 5 called out buttons and like put so many things there, like shouting, sale, buy this now, buy this today, not tomorrow, stuff like that. And it turned out to be a very intense debate. Like, it's better. We feel like UX designers feel it's better for the user. It's more usable when it's cleaner, and you can lead them to exactly what you want them to do. But marketers don't feel the same. So we stumbled upon this, article, where they analyzed like about 1,900 websites to test for what actually leads to conversion. And they found that like, UI doesn't change anything. Like you can change a button 100 times, purple, pink, blue, but it's actually like, behavioral economic stuff, like, scarcity, the kind of things. And it was very interesting. And, UX or product designers hate to see marketers win. We think they're the villains in every product design environment, but we learned a lot from that day. So it's always good, I feel, to incorporate some sort of like behavioral economics or psychological thinking in whatever you're designing, because how you see it from like a UX design perspective isn't exactly how it gets sold. So a very good book is influenced by Robert Cialdini, I think. He wrote this book was written maybe like 15 to 20 years ago, but it's all about behavioral economics, like what makes people do what you want them to do. And it's not about the colors or anything, it's more about like, how you influence them with things like scarcity and, what's the other thing again? Reciprocity, giving them things so they give you something back and stuff like that, yeah.
Hello? Okay, so I can speak from a user research point of view. I'm a researcher. So when it comes, sociology books, I started. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this. I started sociology books. So when you start being able to observe an individual for who they are versus what they should be or what you think they should be to fit your product, you can start using that as building blocks, and just you take your observations, and then you build your product around your observations based on who the human being actually is. Now, to do that, it's really simple. It's not complicated at all. You just have to strip back your ego. You kind of have to strip back what you think you know and just be a blank slate and say, okay, this is what it is. And this is what it is based on evidence. This is what it is based on what people have told me. And you have to view the people as valid. Now, when you view the people as valid, that's another thing. Like, when you view a user or you view a human being as valid and a valid user of your product, then you overcome another boundary where you can say, okay, cool. Now, this person exists like this, lives like this, sleeps like this, and does things like this. And then you can use those sensibilities and input that into your product. And so it is value propositions, it is behavioral economics, but it's a little bit more simplified, a little bit more accessible. But you just have to go out and learn how to ask people questions. Now, a good book for that is The Mum Test by Rob Fitzpatrick. That's a really nice, simple one. If you're really brave and really want to get really stuck into academic side, look at anything written by David Silverman. He's a great sociologist, and he's written some real thick books on like just people. And then if you want to know about how to really ask the best questions of your life, I think there's a book by someone called Oppenheim, and that's like questionnaire design. And as much as that sounds boring as hell, once you kind of unlock the secrets in that book, you can talk to the police and give them a bad day. Like that's how good it is. So I think that's my point of view.
In your guys' opinion, what are the best design products you've used and why? Like, is Facebook the ultimate design product everyone's addicted to?
So are you talking about like design tool as into like build products?
No, product that you've used.
Oh, what's the best design product that I've used?
Yeah, that you've went, wow, this is the best example of design that I've come across.
It's not the best, but it's up there. Monzo.
Yeah.
Like the way Monzo are really taking time to serve people in really stupid situations, looking at all their fringe cases. And so they're not just looking at their core users, like the happy middle that don't move and don't ever have a problem. they're starting to look at fringe cases and the awkward things and how to get people around the awkward things and awkward situations. And after the week I've had, they've been the best company to deliver me a service ever. So everyone else is like, can't help you, you don't have a phone. They're like, oh yeah, we understand you use your phone for banking. Okay, definitely, you can sign it with your friends and say email your link. You see how there's a difference in terms of, it's not much, but you see how there's a difference. And so that's the best design product I've used for the time being.
I think mine will be Snapchat. Very controversial. I know you don't like products that have like L'Oreal's hooked model, trying to get people to come in every day. But for me, they had to go against Silk and Facebook and design something and keep it alive. And their redesign lost them a lot of users initially, but right now there's users are up every day and they're actually doing much better. And what they did was, take it from seeing your friends' lives every day and make it more news and content driven. So even if you have no friends and you get the Snapchat out today, you can find out what's happening around you. And they kind of made advertising more about like the user opting in. So brands now put their products, put their whatever they put in on the app as a magazine. It's a sort of like a magazine style. So instead of interrupting the user's journey by flashing an advert, like you pretty much click on it and you can see exactly what they're talking about, but it's more about storytelling. So you can click on a Mercedes magazine and it will tell you about their great new car instead of like just seeing a Mercedes ad flashed in the middle of you viewing something. So I thought it was very interesting because not many companies go against Facebook and survive to tell the tale. And everyone thought Snapchat was dead, but they kind of redesigned and they're keeping themselves alive. So it's more about design with the business in mind as well. That's for me the best design I've seen.
So I'm a fan of sustainable design. By sustainable design, I mean like when someone is designing for the limiting user, the user who cannot access something by clicking a button, like Airbnb for instance, they have focused on accessibility like wheelchair users and stuff. So it's sustainable. It's looking globally and not just a particular but whole big group of. So inclusive, I would say. So again, City Mapper is really good as well. They have implemented voice and stuff. So I think it's my.
For me, I normally look into more service delivery rather than the product, because a good product with bad services doesn't really does the trick. So building on the fintech, I recently switched my banking from HSBC to Starlink, and that was amazing. Really good experience. The process was really easy, very smooth. The way KYC and everything was complicated. I'm talking business about that one. What was pretty good compared to HSBC, even though I have to go to the branch, get an appointment, so that it is itself a very difficult thing to do, and takes ages to get an appointment. Versus starting normally done within a day, right? And we literally switched over completely or starting. But talking of product, I think that will be pretty good. But again, overall service delivery of the product, and recently I think from the airline sector, Emirates as an airline has done really well the end-to-end customer experience, which includes the designing for offline interactions as well, right?
Is that because that's like one to stand out and is there sort of instant feedback, solve your problem really quickly, and it's all through the device that you use to control the world, and that merges the real world human interaction with the product that's in your hand. That's an interesting example.
I think if you keep those values across any product, or if you keep those values across any service, then if you keep those values across any product or any service, then you're going to have a great outcome. And those are the positive human interactions that I'm kind of talking about. But see, these feelings we're talking about, we're smiling, talking about it, saying, yeah. These are all positive human interactions we've described. And so when you can define what you want to do and then create them, then you're in for a winner. And that's shown throughout all these products that we're talking about today.
Do you feel as though the word user is overused?
I feel that we should really start moving away from drug vernacular and technology, but find me a better word for user. I'm still trying. I'm moving towards human experiences, as you can see. But a human designer sounds weird. I'm not gonna lie to you. A human experience designer or something like you're getting there. But as technology is becoming more prevalent, more pervasive, and more impactful, and more like it's getting really, really, really into us now. Like we need to start thinking about it away from just being a user or just a thing. Yeah, it's just not like we've not been there for a while.
I'm quite interested in that crossover between the sort of wireframe and when something goes wrong, you interact with a human being, and that relationship between. So you've designed the product, you've interviewed the stakeholders, you've got your high fidelity prototype, then it fucks up, and you have to deal with a human being. Do you design that into the process?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So with the example of designing Moonjar, what I didn't get to show you was we also prototyped handovers to a human being. Like we actually like really tested, oh, it's a chatbot, so it's technology. Technology has a limitation. It just does. And how can we make that limitation known? That was actually one of the insights. How do you make one of the limitations of, there's so many chatbots in the market. And so one of the insights was how do we know what this one can do? Because you can make a chatbot in 5 minutes, or you can make a chatbot in a year, depending on the budget, right? And depending on how what is scale. So it was like, what does handover really look like? And we started prototyping that because it's all part of the human experience. When you start thinking about human experience instead of user experience, it just takes you a little step further to think, oh, I need to think from this point to this point with care. Instead of this point to, I got them to do what I wanted them to do, okay, what's up now? There's a difference.
Alright guys, with that, I'll wrap up the talk for tonight. We're gonna stay over, we got some pizzas over, of course, free you can tap for beer and cider. So feel free around to stay around and network with everyone and listen to them. We all are around, have a one-to-one discussion, right? Having said that, so we host this kind of events once every month on the product. We have a few startup related events as well. If anyone is looking to do a startup or looking for a co-founder or something like that, just look up our meetup pages and even front pages, and you'll get all the information about that, right? We'll be posting the live stream is already live on YouTube, and which you can watch. We'll be making it available on Facebook as well. We'll be sending out a blog post just to summarize all the discussions as well, just in case if you need more reference on what we discussed tonight. Right? So with that, I'll wrap up the tonight's event. Thanks for wonderful speakers, right? Thanks, Erinle. You were called in last minute without notice. And also thanks to my team, Has and Elena in the back, who organized this kind of events, puts everything up for everyone to do that. Okay, good. And thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you.